Morning and happy Sunday. My name is Pammie. I'm the creator of Locs Talk here on YouTube, and I'm Pammie of Pammielocs with Love. So today on Locs Talk, I'm going to answer a few common questions that I am asked, and we're going to get right into it, okay? This is a very common question. What kind of products should I use on my locks? Well, my recommendation for the kind of products that you should use on your locks is to first and foremost, you have to do some research. And this research should not be done after you've started your locks. This is a pre-lock research assignment that you should do before you lock your hair. So you make sure that you have all the tools that you need in order to maintain your hair once you start your journey. I currently am using a great brand called by Peculiar Roots. It is a buildup free line of products made specifically for locks. So keywords in here, buildup free, but you want to use products that are specifically designed for locks. What do I mean by this? It's very often, and I'm also guilty of it when I started my locks, because when I started my locks, I specialized in natural hair care and ignorantly thought that the same care that I put into my natural hair, I can put into my locks, which is far from, no, it's two different avenues. So I was in the beginning using products that I normally used on my natural hair. On my locks, I found that buildup was happening quite easily and quickly, and it was very hard to keep up with that and maintain by getting it out. I almost lost all of my back locks because of the soft texture of my hair, the weight that was pulling down on my locks from the buildup, using natural hair care products instead of lock products, and having to constantly wash my hair and stuff. Like, it was really breaking off badly because of the heavy weight of my hair, and boy was I upset. But thankfully, during the time I was in my course, and I expressed to my instructor, my mentor, what was happening, and thankfully at the time that I had gone through that and saw that I was starting to have breakage going on in the back where I almost lost all of my locks, where if I didn't ask questions, I would have panicked and just cut them off and started all over again. Fortunately, I was an advocate. I asked questions, I did research, and I figured out how to repair them before it got to that point. And I was able to repair and salvage my locks in the back. But I also learned a hard lesson that using my natural hair care products, which I had a lot of, was not going to work on my locks, and I had to start searching for products that were suited for my locks, and that was hard. It's so hard to do once you're already in the journey, because now you know what the dangers are. So please do your research beforehand, okay? Common question: how often do you wash your hair? My recommendation, and this is, again, anything that I say is specifically a recommendation that I'm giving. It is not a rule of thumb that you need to follow or any of those different things. This is simply my recommendation, okay? I recommend washing your hair a minimum of bi-weekly or every 2 weeks, maximum monthly or every 4 weeks. I don't think it's necessary to have to wash your hair more often than every 2 weeks, because you risk stripping your hair of the natural essence of oils that your scalp makes for your hair. So yeah, I don't think that is necessary to wash it too often when you have locks. Again, this talk is not for people with straight European hair. I am talking specifically about natural hair and locks when I talk about hair on Locs Talk, okay? All right. Is a very common question that I get from all of my clients, and I'm glad that they asked this question because it gives me the incentive that they are open to communicating and making sure that their care goes as best as possible for them. So the question, as you saw, was what should my home care consist of? A daily moisturizing routine is very important in order for your locks to thrive. As you see, my locks are very lightweight. They don't make a lot of noise, and I'm doing this right next to my mic, so you don't hear any loud thumping because my hair is not heavy. So it's very important that when you do a daily moisture routine, that your moisturizer consists of a liquid-based moisturizer. Oftentimes people misconstrue that oiling their locks is moisturizing their locks, which can't be further from the truth. Oil is a lubricant, so it aids in moisturizing, but it is not a moisturizer. There's a difference. Typically, when you do a moisture routine, like I said, it should be a liquid base. I use refresher spray as my daily moisturizer, and I use a very small amount of conditioning oil to seal in that moisture. So that should be done on a daily basis. I moisturize my hair twice a day because I have color treated hair. Further in this discussion, you'll understand why I moisturize more than once a day. Because of color treated hair, but yes. And if you're going to see your loctician after 4 weeks, you should wash your hair at least once from the time you left your loctician to when you go back. So make sure that you wash your hair at least once. There should not be a really long period between your visits if you're going to see a loctician, because then there is the time that's spent with repairing and things like that, hair and things like that. Also, when you are at home and you do your moisture routine, you should rake your fingers in a downward motion between your locks from the roots, all the way from the roots. This helps keep your locks separated. Ripping your locks apart can cause breakage and loss of hair, so that you don't want to do. If you make it a habit of raking in a downward motion with your fingers to keep your locks separated, that really helps a lot. So with this one, there's a number of things. Okay, so hydrating internally helps with a number of things. It helps with maintaining and keeping moisture to your scalp, but especially it is very helpful, and a lot of people don't know this part. It's very helpful because it increases blood flow and it comes to your scalp. So if you hydrating internally with water, you drink water on a regular basis, it enriches your blood. Now, when I say hydrating on a regular basis, again, don't go overboard and drink too much water, because that could be harmful. But drinking the recommended amount, whatever your weight is, drinking half of that in ounces is what your daily consumption should be. It's not 8 to 10 glasses for everybody. That is primarily, but it's based on what your body weight is. So whatever you weigh, divide that by 2. That number is the number of ounces of water you should be drinking on a daily basis. That increased blood flow to your scalp actually promotes more growth, faster growth of your hair. So hydrate internally, absolutely. Moisture routine does not just consist of the outside. Drink your water. Drink water and mind your business. No, it's not. But yeah, hydrating is excellent, especially when you have locks. Now this one is a very common question: how to avoid lint buildup. And it's very common in the lock community because your locks become a magnet to lint. So I have sort of a four-part answer. It's not going to be a long answer. Okay. First, lock brushing. Now, this is my lock brush right here, and I brush my locks for a couple of reasons, right? One of the reasons why I brush my locks is it actually pulls the lint out of my hair that's like on the surface of my hair, right? But it also helps spread like the product that I have in my hair when I do my moisture routine and I put the oil on it. I brush right after I spray and oil my hair, and it helps to evenly distribute everything throughout my hair. But it also keeps my hair from looking so frizzy. So like I had brushed the front of my hair down because I'm like literally 3 months since my last retwist, and when I don't brush my hair, it's like so. As you see, it teams and lays down a lot of the frizzy hair. Okay, you got to cover your hair when you're asleep. I wear satin lined bonnets on my hair when I'm asleep. I don't like my hair tightly tied down. I like to be able to, and I have a lot of hair, so I don't want to have on a bonnet that's so tight that it's, I don't want to have like a scarf on my head that feels tight. I have issues with feeling claustrophobic when I have anything that's like too tightly bonded to my head and stuff like that. So I don't really like that when I'm sleeping. I already got a blanket on me. I'm sorry for any sound that you hear coming from outside. I'm in my kitchen and the window's slightly open. I like to keep it open. What's the next one? When I'm getting dressed, like especially if I'm putting the shirt over my head, especially when I put on my sweatshirt. Oh my God. I keep my bonnet on when I'm putting clothes on, especially when you're putting clothes over your head. That helps cover your locks and keeps lint from transferring from the clothing to your hair. But I still brush every day because as you see, I have like on the cottony type top, and my hair, swings back and forth. So I have to brush it to make sure that any lint that I pick up off it here. And make no mistake, when your hair touches stuff that has a cottony surface, you want to make sure that you really get that lint out of your hair, because you may not see it right away. It's not going to be big giant chunks of lint just getting on your hair. But over time, like the same way if you have a cat or a dog, if they keep laying in the same spot, that spot gets hairier and hairier and hairier. That's how lint builds up as well. It starts off invisible and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So you want to stay ahead of it, right? And finally, when you wash your hair, use microfiber towels when you're drying your hair, because lint does transfer from regular bath towels and things like that. Again, gradually over time. So you don't want lint transfer into your hair while it's wet, because it will make its way down into your lock very quickly because your hair is wet. The coils in your hair is expanded, so it makes it easier for stuff to get down in there. So microfiber towels are good for lack of lint transfer, but they also absorb a lot more moisture when you're drying your hair. Okay. Another common question: how often do I retwist? Okay. Now, again, this is my recommendation. It's not a rule of thumb. You don't need to go battling somebody. Oh, well, Pammie said that you. Don't do that. Please don't. But this is strictly my recommendation that I give to my clients. When you have starter locks, you should not retwist. The minimum, I said, what is it? The minimum I wrote down here. 4 to 6 weeks, I see my clients. Generally more like 4 and 5 weeks, when they're brand new, when I just started their locks, every 4. Most of them picked 4 weeks because of, the transformation that happens with their locks from the time they do. They was like, they'll come back and say, oh, my hair is so frizzy and crazy. Can we do it now? They want to come back as soon as possible. So most of my clients, they come back after 4 weeks. And that happens generally within the first year. They come to me once a month just to make sure that I'm keeping up with their hair and keeping their frizz as minimum as possible. The majority of my clients are professionals, so they can't be walking around looking crazy. Those are their words, not mine. But when you have starter locks, I don't recommend any more than 6 weeks. And really, I don't recommend less than 4 weeks between your visits. Once the hair is locked, then those times get expanded, and I see them every 6 to 8 weeks. So you can get away with that time once your hair is locked. My mature lock clients, I see them every 8 to 10 weeks. My locks are mature. I retwist my hair once every 3 months. But that comes with me maintaining and keeping my hair looking very well kept and kept together, on a daily basis with my routines and stuff. And not everybody is really good with keeping up with routines. So they do keep up with the maintenance and stuff. And I'm really used to doing hair. Not everybody is well versed on doing hair and styling and all of those things. So they come a little earlier. So, I do every 3 months because I can get away with it. Not everybody can. So, yeah. Oh, this is a very good question. Do I have to retwist after I wash my hair? No, you don't. You're not required to retwist your hair after every wash. It's okay. You don't have to. Okay? There's this, and a lot of times, most people who believe that they have to retwist their hair after every wash are people in the lock community that are more prone to have a very symmetrical and neat setup of their locks, where their parts are always intact and everything is just laying down and things like that. They feel the need to retwist their hair every time they manipulate their hair in any way. That can be dangerous because you can lose your hair. Like, you can cause traction alopecia and eventually over time lose your hair because you're constantly making it tight, and it's not necessary. Others believe that they're worried about their hair unraveling when they wash their hair. And a simple way to do that is, like, when I don't want my hair to unravel, especially if I wash my hair soon after I've retwisted it, what I do, and I have length, so it's easy. It's easier if you have length. I'll just take and do like really loose ponytails like this. And not with this though. I have smaller, thinner ones, and I'll just section my hair off in pieces and keep it like this. And that way, they're not unraveling or untwisting while I'm washing my hair, and it's still like loose enough up here for me to wash my hair the way that I want to wash my hair. And yeah, so that helps a lot. But also, it's not just the washing of your hair that can cause your hair to unravel. Oftentimes people play in their hair too much. They constantly are doing it. And I see these videos of people just constantly lifting their locks up and letting them fall and things like that. All of that stuff is too much motion and too much, playfulness in your hair is going to cause it to unravel. So you got to chill out. Stop playing so much with your hair. Be like a mama. Stop playing with your damn hair. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, you don't have to retwist after every wash. Yes, it's a very good question. Can products specifically formulated for locks cause buildup? The answer is yes. And then you're wondering how. Well, the reason why I said yes is because if you're not using them as directed and you're overusing it, you can cause buildup. You have to use them as directed. A little bit goes a long way. Oftentimes people believe, oh, this is made for my hair, it's good for me, then I can use as much as I want. No. Too much of a good thing can become a bad thing. Even if you drink too much water, it can literally kill you. You don't believe me? Look it up. Make sure you use them as directed. If it says to only use this amount, only use that amount. Okay? Give or take a little bit here or there, but don't go that crazy over it. You don't need to do that. So the answer to the question, can lock products cause buildup? They absolutely can when they are not used properly. Use as directed. Simple as that. Okay, this was a question, and like I said, no question is dumb except for the one you failed to ask. So I really appreciated this person for asking this question. Is it bad? Yeah, it's bad. If you saw my video on lock rot, you'll understand why I said it's bad to leave residue in your hair after washing it. It's very important to properly wash your hair, and that's also why I made the video giving you step by step on how to properly wash your hair. Oftentimes people wash their hair and they think they're doing it the right way, especially with their locks, and they aren't. I've had clients come to me and say, oh, I washed my hair already, can we just do the twist? And I'll look and I'm like, no, we need to wash your hair, because they did not get anything out of their hair. Like, you can clearly tell that they shampooed it and everything, because you can smell the shampoo, but like what they needed to get out of their hair is still in their hair. So no, don't leave residue behind. I have had to do detoxes to get residue from shampoo and conditioner that wasn't thoroughly rinsed out of the hair. When you rinse your hair, don't just let water run on top of it and you know, just be doing, you know, like this. You need to like squeeze the water out of it. Your locks are like sponges. So if you just run water on the sponge and let the water drain out of it, anything that's inside of that sponge is still in that sponge. You have to squeeze it to get it out. You got to squeeze it to get it out. Rinse and squeeze until that water is clear. That way you know you don't have residue left in your hair. So is it a bad thing to leave residue in your hair? Absolutely is. Make sure you thoroughly rinse your hair. Okay, so for me, again, let me remind you, this is just my recommendation. Do what you want. If it's your head and that's what you want to do, that's your business. I'm not here to judge nobody or nothing. But if you're asking me for my professional opinion and my recommendation, no. Using beeswax and honey is not a good idea. They are both dirt and lint magnets. They burrow in the lock. They cause big, massive buildup. No, don't use beeswax and honey on your natural hair. It is not meant for our hair. When I say all hair locks, okay? But you don't need the aid of beeswax and honey for your hair to lock. Okay? You don't. So I don't use honey or beeswax on any of my clients. Not a one. Okay, because once it burrows down into that lock and that buildup is there, it's really hard to get it out. Very hard. Almost impossible. And I don't feel like it's a necessity to cause such a massive buildup that you have to do harsh detoxes to try to get it out. So, how to avoid it? Don't use it. That's it. Excellent question. What happens if you don't moisturize your hair regularly? Dehydration, dryness, breakage, buildup from other products that can build up on your hair because the moisture is lacking. If you see that you used to have really plump locks and they're getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier, they're dehydrating. And at any given time, those babies can break and fall off. Moisturize your hair. It's important. It is. Okay? This is a very common question that I am asked. Can I dye my locks? Yeah, you can. It's a matter of when. Now, if your hair is locked, Like if you started your journey and you're in your starter locks and your hair is not locked yet, but you're still working on it, then no, do not dye your hair. What happens is because the ingredients in dyes can alter the texture of your hair, which will then delay your hair locking. So you want to wait until you are fully locked to color your hair. Okay, my hair was colored before I locked my hair, and I think, in my opinion, it played a part in the delay it took for my hair to lock, because my hair took a long time to lock. And I didn't color it right before, but I was coloring my hair before I locked my hair, and I had already had a softer texture of hair. So I think that the color that I was putting in my hair was even making my curl pattern even softer, and it made it harder for my hair to bond and to lock. The texture of my hair has changed significantly since I've locked my hair and since I've stopped coloring it, but like especially at the root, which I'm very grateful for. However, coloring your hair while it's still bonding and training itself to be locked, I don't recommend coloring your hair. Wait until your hair is reaching it's not even budding, because that still can open it back up. You have to be fully locked in order for it not to affect the process of your hair locking. So yeah, you can color it. Do I recommend using bleach? No. If you saw my video about the maintenance and care that goes into taking care of your hair after bleaching it, is why, because having locks in itself requires more hydration to your hair than you would have if you were just loose and natural. Having it processed with bleach on top of that, whoo baby. And not only that, it also changes the texture of your hair. It strips the protein of your hair, so it makes your hair much weaker and prone to breaking. So I would recommend staying away from bleach. You can use developers to lift color out of your hair so that you can color it. But I personally, no. No. But you can color your hair. Just wait, okay? Give yourself time. Patience. Can you condition your hair while it's locked? Yes and no. I'll explain what I mean when I say yes and no. You can condition your locks once they are fully locked, because it's okay. But while your hair is still locking and budding and stuff, I don't recommend doing too much with conditioner, because conditioner relaxes your hair a little bit. So the curls that need to lock together to make your locks lock are too relaxed, and it can delay the time it takes your hair to lock. So conditioning your hair too early in your journey may delay your time of locking. However, the brand of lock products that I use, Peculiar Roots, I've tested the theory on several of my clients who volunteered from the start of their journey using the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's okay. It does not really alter the texture of your hair very much. It does provide you with just enough moisture so that your hair doesn't feel dry and brittle. And usually when I use that on their hair, I only do it for one of the 3 wash cycles that I use, that I do on their hair. Typically, I use 3 different shampoos from Peculiar Roots when I wash my clients' hair. I start with the ACV apple cider vinegar shampoo to cleanse the hair of any product that may have been in the hair from the last time that we visited each other. The second one will be a detox shampoo, the black charcoal detox shampoo that pulls out any dirt and debris that may have burrowed and sunk down into their locks, between our last visit and them coming back to me. And then the final wash will be with one of the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioners. So that's the thing that I love about Peculiar Roots shampoos, is that the way it's formulated, you can mix and match them. You don't necessarily have to use one specific kind for one wash session. So yeah, you can condition your hair, but I highly recommend it after your hair is fully locked. Also, if you're going to use a different brand, because you hear me talk about Peculiar Roots all the time, I'm not requiring anyone to use it. I recommend it, but it's up to you if you want to try it. But if you decide that you're going to use a different conditioner, especially one that's not formulated for locks, make sure that you dilute it as much as possible to decrease the density of that conditioner, because if it's thick, it will definitely get trapped in your lock and cause buildup. So be careful with that, okay? And also read the label. Make sure that things like silicone is not in the ingredients. What else? Formaldehyde. What else? Yeah, so it's stuff like that you don't want inside of the conditioner. So make sure you read the label and understand what each of those ingredients are. Generally, if it's something you cannot pronounce, go Google it, look it up, see what it is. Ask the question, does this particular ingredient cause harm to my hair? Do your research. Don't just assume because something says something free on the bottle that is not in there, okay? Take the time, do your homework, make sure you're using the right stuff on your hair. All right. Okay, so next question asked is, can I oil my locks? Yeah, you can. However, don't over oil your locks. It's not a necessity to put oil on your scalp and your locks every single day. And what I mean by that, I don't mean the little bit that you can put on to seal in moisture. I'm talking about like literally taking a bottle and just, have you seen people like literally putting a lot of oil in it? You don't have to put a lot of oil in your hair. Overuse of oil in your hair can cause a lot of problems, such as buildup of dryness, because you're sealing dryness into your scalp. Oil is not a moisturizer, it's a lubricant. And there's a difference. Moisturizing your hair consists of using a water-based moisturizer. Water-based. It has to be water-based. A lot of times people associate oil in their hair with moisturizing their hair. And think about it. If you are thirsty and you need to quench your thirst, are you going to grab a glass of oil or are you going to grab a glass of water? Water, right? So it's the same thing. Think of your hair being thirsty. Oil is not going to quench it. A water-based moisturizer will, okay? When I oil my hair, I oil my scalp once every 3 or 4 days. I don't do it that often because your scalp does make, you produce your own natural oils from your scalp. Now, if you have a skin issue throughout your body, because your scalp is skin, where you suffer from dryness because you don't produce enough oil, then I recommend oiling your hair a little more often, every 2 or 3 days, but not every single day. And it should be like drops of oil that you're putting throughout your scalp, and then you use your fingers to spread it and massage it. You should not be doing like full streams between every part. That's still too much. Too much of a good thing can cause a bad thing. You can clog your hair follicles, which can lead to buildup of bacteria in the hair follicles and cause things like folliculitis, which is very painful. So you don't want that. So yeah, oiling your hair is okay, but just don't go overboard with it. Final question. Final question. This is good. This question asks, how often do I detox my hair if I detox? If you are using a good product that is buildup free or anything like that, you shouldn't have to detox more than once or twice a year. If you find yourself having to detox more than once or twice a year, then you might want to rethink think and reconsider the products that you're using in your hair, because buildup is not that easy or massive when using products in your hair. So be careful with what you're using in your hair. Now, if you work in an environment where there's a lot of dirt and dust that can get in your hair, I suggest covering your hair. If you're a construction worker, don't go to work with your hair exposed. Cover your hair. Cover your hair. You know, I've worked with a lot of guys that used to tuck their hair in their shirts. Like, they'll cover it and then they'll tuck their hair in their shirts to keep debris from getting into their hair and things like that. But be careful about, you know, detoxing too much. And if you're going to detox, use a gentle detox. Highly acidic detoxes that has a high balance of pH, a high level of pH, can knock off your own pH balance of your hair. And that's the last thing you want to do, because if your pH on your hair is off, it will cause your hair to become damaged. So you have to be careful in maintaining the pH balance of your hair. And that's why it's not good to detox your hair too often, because your pH is going to be off. You know, the apple cider baking soda detox is really high. It has a really high pH level. So you have to be careful with doing that too much. And the way I've been seeing it being done, like, you should never pour baking soda directly onto your hair like that. The pH level of baking soda is more than twice the level of your natural hair or scalp. So, yeah. Detoxing, if you're going to detox, should never be done more than once or twice a year. I detox my hair every 6 months. The first time I do it is in the springtime, after I've done my spring cleaning, and for obvious reasons, I just have stuff all in my hair after I've done a thorough spring cleaning of my house. So I do a detox. And I spend more time outdoors during the spring and summer months. So my second detox is just right before winter comes in. And yeah, so that's it. Hope that all of these questions and answers have been beneficial to you. And thank you again for joining me for another week of Locs Talk. See you next time. Bye.